C.2, add pagination feature. So in this part, let us add a useful feature in a typical web application. Here we have 100 something questions. So you can imagine in a typical web application like this, it is possible you may have thousands of pages, right? So definitely you cannot list all the data in one page. So that is very hard to use. So the pagination feature, it is frequently implemented. So here, let us look at the implementation details. All right. Let us do in several steps. First, let us look at the data query for pagination. Because we do not need to get all the data, right? So like in our project one, we retrieve all the problems. All right. But here, we only need to retrieve one page of the problem. So you can set how many questions in one page. But in this example, we like to make this part as simple as possible. So we just set 10 questions per page by default. Okay. So our default 10 problems per page. How about that? Right? So then we need to add or modify our query in problem DAO class. Typically, we need to add the last part to change from full data version to page data version. So look at that. So we modify the query from all data version, from all data version to page data version, right? Only one page data version. So that modification, pretty simple. So let us look, actually, this descending part does not belong to that. So let me cut off. Only the limit part address that problem, page version problem. All right. Okay. First, the first part, the same as before. I think you already understand that. Then, the limit part, first you see the keyword, the limit keyword. So you can guess what we are going to do using this keyword. Second, you also notice two question marks. So we call the, in parameters. Here, unknown parameters. All right. Determined at runtime. Okay. Entered by user. All right. The first, we need to know the meaning. The first starting point. All right. But later we need to look at how do we calculate, how do we understand the starting point. That could be different, right? How do we understand the starting point? All right. Second, number of items. Retrieved. The second parameter, easy to understand. Number of items, number of rows. So you can understand number, yeah. So let me better write number of rows, yeah, because items, what do you mean items, right? Yeah, number of rows. Rows, we know that concept from the table. Now, the whole data set, there is a big table. Now we only want to take one segment of the rows. Yeah. Here, let me write a diagram. Yeah. To describe the situation, yeah, let us consider, yeah, so this rectangle represent all the data. All right, so in many rows, data organized in table, yeah, many rows. All right, yeah. Next, we need to define one particular segment using this limit keyword. All right, yeah. Okay. Suppose this is the segment we want to retrieve in this query. When you specify this segment, first, you need to tell the starting location to MySQL. Here, I'm talking about MySQL. Because for different DBMS, this could be different. Yeah. All right. So look at this row. This row, the arrow I point to, you can see the row before the starting row of the segment we want to retrieve. See, from the diagram, I think you can see the arrow I drew. That row is the row before, one row before the first row in the segment. All right. So the first question mark points to this location. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Not in the selected rows. Not in the selected rows of the segment. How about that? Segment, all right? So that precise understanding is important. Right. The second, then number of rows, I think you should not have any problem to understand. Yeah. The first one, the starting point, you need to understand in this way. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the first thing, important thing. Yeah. With this understanding, later in our implementation code for the features related to this particular part, you can understand. So why we calculate in this way? Yeah. Because of understanding here. Second, this limit keyword. Okay, this limit keyword, it is MySQL keyword. It's a special MySQL keyword. Yeah, may not be available. So this keyword may not be available in other DB database management system, DBMS. Okay? For example, in Oracle, you cannot find this keyword. Okay? And this keyword is very convenient to use. For example, we want to do this feature. How simple it is. Yeah. But for other DBMS, if this keyword is not available, probably you need to use some alternative way, alternative functions to do the same feature. Yeah. But this is the simplest way. Yeah. So, all right, this is the simplest feature, simplest way to take one segment of a row, of the table. Yeah. All right, so that's another thing. Third, yeah, this descending. Look at this keyword, DESC, descending order. When we retrieve descending order, so usually when we need to enter new questions into this question bank, we like to use the descending order because the top question is the new question you just entered. So that is very convenient. So the user can see the input effect immediately, right? So the user will be very happy. Yeah, it works. So think about if you use the ascending order, when a user enters a new question, that new question is at the end of the page, right? You know, all pages, but it is at the end. So the user does not know if the new question is there. If the user does the navigation there, it is pretty complicated, right? Pretty complicated, yeah. All right, so this is the more friendly way, yeah. But in our testing, in our early testing, we may like to use the ascending order. Ascending order corresponds to the keyword ASC, ascending order, okay? But ascending order, this is also default. The default order is ascending order. That means we do not need to specify it. We just remove DESC, we will get the ascending order. All right? Yeah. Okay. So that's another thing. Yeah, I want to make a comment. Yeah. Next, there is another important part. I want to make a comment. So what's that? That is pretty subtle here. So what's that? Yeah. Look at this part. Yeah. In this query, can you see a space character? This one, there is a space character. This space character is important. So I really want to point it out here. Yeah. Because here, you can see the query statement is relatively long, so we need to break it into multiple lines. When you break it into multiple lines, then the connection part is important. Yeah. For example, if you do not intentionally put a space character there, what would happen? Think about that. What would happen? You will see the last word order underscore num and from when we do the Java concatenation. Yep, that plus sign is the Java concatenation. After the Java concatenation, what will you see? Yeah, here let me write it out. So order underscore num. All right. Then after that you do Java concatenation from immediately after that. Then this whole thing MySQL cannot recognize. What is this? What is this? MySQL cannot recognize it. Then you have a big problem. You have error. The query syntax error. All right? Yeah. So for the experienced programmer, so they know at right place, insert a character. Insert a character. Yeah. Because for unexperienced programmers, when they have situation like this, they see it doesn't work, but there is no clear error messages they can use to identify the problem. So it is very hard to find the problem and fix it. So it will take a lot of time. So you don't want to waste a lot of time on errors like this one, right? Yeah. So that's pretty much, all the important information I want to explain regarding this query. Next, we want to look at implementation method. Get data from one page. Still in this problem DAO class. All right. So the full implementation method is like this. But here I skip some lines. Yeah, because this part pretty much standard. Yeah. Or we can say same as the previous version. So nothing to explain. So I skip these lines so we can put the whole method in one slide. Now, the first thing I want to explain, look at the integer variables. st means, starting point. We want integer variable to give us the starting point. Then we need to use the understanding from the previous page, the row number before the first row of the selected segment. Well, so that's why here 10, that's the number of rows in each page, number of questions in each page. Multiply page number -1, yeah, before the current page, right? Page number -1, yeah, we can treat it as number of pages before the current page. All right, then this st integer variable really gives us the row number right before the first row of the selected segment. How about that? So understand in that way, precisely in that way. Now, after that, the remaining part pretty straightforward. All right. The first question, the parameter 1, the first question mark in limit. Yeah. Remember, so these two rows try to address the two question mark in our query. Yeah. All right, in our current version of the query. Yeah. So the first question mark, st, will fill that number in the first question mark. Second question mark, number of questions in this page. But here, when we put a 10 there, we need to understand up to 10. Up to 10. If you can get more than 10 rows, just take 10 rows. But not necessary. Sometimes when you reach the last page, you don't have that many rows, right? You're already in the last page, the final page. You may have the rows less than 10. It's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, you put the limit is 10, right? Limit is 10. Within that limit, every number is okay, right? Within that limit, every number is okay. Yeah. So it's perfectly fine. We use in that way, up to 10 rows. All right. So the remaining, the same as before. Yeah. So that's how we modify that. The modified, we also we do not replace the old method. Here, we like to create a new version of the method. Yeah, because this one, we need to enter that page number parameter. Yeah, get problem list by page. That's our new method name. Yeah. All right. After this, the remaining, we need to use this method to get the data. All right. Yeah. So, and then put the right place, send it to the JSP. So we retrieve the data from the JSP. Yeah, the remaining steps. Yeah. All right. So the last step of this video, process page parameter in servlet. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now we need to get page parameter in the servlet. We know list math servlet. All right. So in that one, do get method. In the do get method. Yeah. So in the do get method. Yeah. This is the key lines we need to add into the old version, but we need to, try to put it in the right place. Yeah. All right. First, look at this string variable. We use a string variable. So why we use string variable? Because here we want to retrieve a parameter value, right? Yeah. Parameter value from the HTTP request. All right. Yeah. Then one thing, HTTP request is the user send from using HTTP request. Yeah. All right. So here there is one assumption. All the parameter values are in string format. String format. Okay, yeah, string format. Yeah. The reason is very simple. The data collected from HTML document, right? Yeah. So the data collected from input fields, HTML elements. So the original form of the data, all string format. Even integers you retrieve, you send, still in the string format. So that's why this method, get parameter method, this method returns a string. Directly return a string. Okay, return a string. Yeah. So you can see, because this method returns a string, so no casting, right? You do not need to cast it to string because its form is a string. So no casting operation here. All right? Yeah. But the page number should be really an integer, right? In MySQL query, string data type, integer data type, completely different. We cannot mix string and integer data type. So we have to clearly separate them. For that reason, we need to do conversion. Yeah. So that's the conversion thing. The standard integer conversion in Java. Yeah. So this line. integer.parseInt, that string value converted to integer data type. Yeah. Probably there could be some exception, but here, we just skip the exception handling part. Yeah. In the real world situation, you need to write pretty good, exception handling code. Okay. Yeah. But here, we just want to, simplify the whole project. So we may skip some of the less important details. So this is one part of it. Yeah. Another thing, the default case. The default case, the user may not provide a page number, right? So no page number. If no page number, that integer value, PG, equals 0. But we don't want to use page 0, right? Our first page is page 1. So that's why we reset the page number to page 1 for the default case. Yeah, for the default case. Yeah. Then we take care of the page parameter part in our servlet. All right, so the last thing we need to do, load the data for the current page. All right, yeah. So what do we need to do here? Yeah. All right, so here, still that list problem, that line, we have an older line, but this one we just changed to our new method. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Next, I need to update the code and show you the feature, but this video is already too long, so I want to stop our C.2 video right here. Then the remaining editing the code and do experiment, we will put it in our C.3 video. Okay, all right, so let us stop right here.